Hi everyone, want to welcome you to this week's episode of the Lesson in 5. Lesson in 5 is a weekly program where we summarize the Sabbath School lesson into 5 main points. If you're new around here, make sure you subscribe to our channel and hit the notification button as well so you don't miss any of our future videos. The Sabbath School lesson for this week is the Christian and work. There may be many attitudes that people have toward work, but when God placed man in Eden, both Adam and Eve were designed to work. God put him there to tend and care for the garden. Work was meant to be an abundant blessing from God, and that's what we're going to be studying this week. The many sides of work. After God put man in the garden, he designed him, he placed him there to work. Work was a blessing, a gift from God. However, after sin came into the world, the Bible tells us that God tells man that you're going to eat from the sweat of your brow. In other words, work became harder after sin. While God did intend that people should work, work was meant to be pleasant and enjoyable. The consequences of work, the sweat that comes through work, was not part of God's design. Nature and work. As we read through the Bible, many times we discover that the Bible speaks about work as being the work of your hands. That expression is used over and over again. God has given us that ability to produce things with our hands. In other words, to have a trade or a skill that we can hone in and use. We also need to remember that work is a God-given ability, and we need to use our ability to work to glorify God. So whatever it is that you do, whatever your day job is, think about ways that you can use that to glorify God and advance the purposes of His kingdom. Work and excellence. If we are to read Exodus 25 to Exodus 30, we discover that God designed that we be workers. God was not only interested in the work being done, but He was also interested in how it was done. God is meticulous, detailed, and a God of excellence. He requires that whatever we find to do, we do it with all our might. God expects the very best from us. Whatever your calling is, whatever your vocation, God expects the very best. God expects excellence from all His people. Work and spirituality. When we read Galatians chapter 5, verse 22 and verse 23, we find the fruit of the Spirit: love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness, self-control. All these things form a part of the fruit of the Spirit. God expects us to produce this fruit not only when we're in church on a Sabbath morning, but God expects that our produce be spiritual every single day. That means in our places of work, we need to continue to be Christian. We need to display the love of Jesus wherever we are. We cannot compartmentalize our lives and say, this is me when I'm at work, this is me at church. We need to be Christians 24/7, every day, all the time. Work and stewardship. We are stewards of the gifts that God has given us. One of those gifts is our ability to work. Paul mentions in 1 Corinthians 10 verse 31 that whether you eat or drink, do it all to the glory of God. We are expected to glorify God even with the work of our hands. Whatever it is that God has called you to do, you ought to be giving Him glory. Well, I hope you've enjoyed the lesson in 5. If you've enjoyed the lesson in 5, make sure you share, like, and subscribe. And until next week, God bless you all.